Howdy folks, I'm Brian and here's some Reddit. Our first story is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Being Honest About Liking My Birthday Gift? So, my birthday was 2 weeks ago. One of my good friends E got me a gift that was completely not my taste. It was really weird looking sundress from a brand I never buy from, in a style I never wear. I typically dress in a more androgynous tomboy style. I was kind of surprised because she normally gives me amazing gifts and has gotten me cool stuff in the past. But because she is one of my closest friends, I didn't want to hurt her feelings. She included the receipt anyways, so I figured I'd maybe exchange it for something, although the brand is not what I'd normally buy from. Anyway, I thanked her when she gave it to me, feigned some joy as I opened it, and took it home with me. In my head, I was just happy to have gotten a gift. It wasn't my style, but it was still thoughtful of her to get me a present. I chalked it up to her maybe pushing me to try something new and moved on with my life. Today we were supposed to get lunch, so I thought I'd wear the dress to meet up with her. When I showed up, she seemed really shocked and angry, and we had a pretty tense, awkward meal together. Later, I got a long, angry text from her talking about how disappointed she was. Apparently, the whole thing was a prank. She purposefully got me the dress that I would never buy for myself, that she knew I would never be caught dead in, to see if I'd be a good friend and tell her the truth. She had seen some dumb videos on social media about people giving bad gifts on purpose to see if they are honest or not. E wanted and expected me to open her gift and gently tell her it wasn't what I really wanted, and thus pass her test. Apparently, she was planning on giving me the real gift, a vinyl of this band I really liked, after I told her that I didn't like the fake one. But since I lied, I didn't deserve it. I'm really taken aback. Like, what in the world? Who does that? She called me a jerk for lying to her face about loving it, and I just haven't replied to her since. I genuinely don't know what to say. This situation is just out of pocket. This is really unusual behavior for her or for anyone I'm friends with, and I really don't know what to think. Am I the jerk? Is this normal? All right, OP. I would have a hard time faulting you in this situation. I mean, I think that you did the polite thing. I think you did the thing that you thought was going to be fine, and you thought that this gift was maybe her pushing you to a new style. So, and on top of that, you utilized the gift and, because you thought that this was something that she had really thought about and that she normally gives you good gifts, so you trusted her judgment. And I think that her theory kind of breaks down at that point because you trusted her judgment enough that you were willing to wear this dress even though it wasn't even your style, because you thought maybe she saw something that you didn't see in it, and so you were like, well, she often gives me good things, she may very well be right, maybe this is a style I can pull off. And I imagine that it was kind of hurtful that you discovered that she had deceived you and was actually not interested in getting you a gift that you really liked. Like, this is just kind of a weird mind game, and I don't know what this is all about. And I think that people who play mind games like this, I don't know, they maybe aren't necessarily the best of friends. I don't know. Maybe she's just going through a rough time and really wanted to make sure that her friends were really close. I don't know, but this was a really poor way of going about it. Like, if she had actually said to you, oh, I didn't know about this dress, can you give me your honest opinion about whether you like it or not? And you had been like, well, actually, I was really questioning the dress, and yeah, it's just not my style, but I really am really happy that you thought of me and got me a gift. That might have been a really different conversation, and she could have probably relied on you to tell her the truth at that point in time. It's not like you probably would have fought her if she had presented it that way. So it's really difficult because gift giving is such a hard thing as it is, and people who give gifts, don't necessarily like being told that their gift is bad. It can be really hurtful. And on the other end, you have this situation, which is a very odd, peculiar reaction. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk, you graciously accepted the gift. Nothing wrong with that at all, and anyone who tests a friend or family member is a jerk. Yeah. This 100%. Anyone who tests a friend or family member is a jerk. Yeah, and not only was she testing her, she also got upset for actually using the gift. Like what? Talk about a surefire way of making someone more self-conscious about what they wear. If you're handing someone a different style of clothing than what they usually wear, even as a prank, at least don't get upset when they actually try it out. Yeah, exactly. Speaking of peculiar behavior, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Forgetting My Husband and I's Vacation Anniversary? My husband, 34-year-old male, and I, a 31-year-old female, have been married for 4.5 years now. In the spring of 2018, we took a 2-month-long trip to Europe and Africa where we stayed in London, Barcelona, and Marrakech. Pronunciations. It was a great time for both of us since we've always wanted to do another long trip like that. It was a really great time for both of us, and since then, we've always wanted to do another long trip like that. So this morning, my husband wakes me up at 7 a.m. with a gift. At this point, I'm a little mad because we had both gone to bed at 1 and I wanted to sleep in. So I opened the gift, which is an envelope, and inside are our plane tickets from our home airport to London dated on 4/29/2018. I mean, a little strange, but okay. Then he drags me into the kitchen where I see he's preparing a Spanish-style breakfast for me, which I thought was really sweet of him. He told me that since today was the day we left on our big trip and haven't been able to travel for a year, he wanted to do something special for me to commemorate. I mean, overall, it was a really nice gesture, even if I was sleep deprived. Our day goes on as normal, and we both work from home. So around noon, I go into the kitchen to make some lunch for myself, and my husband comes in and says, "So, I'm guessing you didn't get me anything." At this point, I'm pretty confused, so I'm like, "Get you anything for what?" Then he gets this exasperated look on his face and says, "Our vacation anniversary." I didn't know if this was a joke or not because we've literally never celebrated this vacation anniversary before, despite it technically occurring 2 times in 2019 and 2020. I laugh and tell him maybe next year I will. He didn't appreciate the joke. He told me that our vacation was more significant than our wedding, and it hurt him that I didn't remember. I apologized to him, but he's still mad and has an attitude with me. Am I the jerk? OP, I don't even know how you could have possibly foreseen this coming up. Unless you two had like a discussion beforehand about wanting to celebrate this time, then it seems a little odd that he would pull this just out of his hat. I mean, again, you didn't celebrate it for the last 2 years, and unless on your trip you two were like, oh, you know, it'd be really awesome if in 2021 we celebrated the vacation anniversary. But there has to be a discussion at some point in time about if you're going to celebrate an anniversary of some kind. Otherwise, it's especially one that's kind of like off-brand like this, where it's not something people commonly celebrate. So yeah, I think something that could have been a really nice, sweet gesture on his part really kind of turned into something, almost hurtful because of how he's treating this. So no, I don't think you're a jerk. I think maybe he's got cabin fever or something like that because this isn't actually, I think, normal behavior. Maybe he's just been cooped up too much and, he needs to get out. I don't know. Hopefully there isn't something more severe going on with him. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk. This is not a yearly event you guys celebrate. You had no way of knowing he was planning to make a big deal about it this year. Can't your husband just do something sweet for you without expecting something in return? Yeah. Solid question at the end. Want to know the answer to that? Don't we all? Husband invents a new personal holiday and does something nice for wife. Wife, thanks. Husband, you didn't do anything for me on our newly invented holiday I didn't tell you about. Wife, no. Husband, surprise Pikachu face. Speaking of unreasonable demands, our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for insisting that a nude drawing be removed when I have a personal connection? Well, this just seems silly and one of those unbelievable coincidences. But it happened to me and I'm wondering if I'm a jerk. So, I'm a 48-year-old female, a volunteer for a number of organizations, a local museum, botanical garden, etc. I have the time and I like to give back. So recently I was visiting an acquaintance, Deb, from one of these groups at her place, and she and I were planning an upcoming meeting. I have never been in her home before. In her beautiful home, she had a lot of art. She's a collector and an artist herself. In the salon where we were meeting was a large framed charcoal drawing, a slightly abstract male nude. Very well done, although not exactly my kind of thing. I prefer clothed art. I was intrigued for reasons I will explain below and asked her some questions. It turns out that she was the artist herself, and that it was a sketch that she had done in a life drawing class a couple years ago in a local college's adult ed class, and she liked it well enough to display. Immediately, my heart sank. I knew the drawing was of my son. My beautiful boy Aaron, a 22-year-old male, had posed as a model for such a life drawing class when he was home after his freshman year. Why? I don't know. He freely told us that he'd done that, even though he probably knew I wouldn't approve. Despite being a near-perfect kid, Aaron has always had a hint of a rebellious streak. Think Tarzan hair, and the kind of clothes that some kids wear today. What does that even mean? I had not been quite upset with him at the time, apparently parading around in his birthday suit for middle-aged men and women to draw. I begged him not to do it. What would people think? That it was not right and that we don't do those kinds of things. He was paid, but certainly didn't do it for the money. Said he was just doing it for the fun. His father didn't seem to care. I always liked that Aaron is a free spirit, but this was just too much. So I discreetly explained the situation to Deb, knowing that she would understand and remove the art, especially when our members visit. She refused, though, and it led to a big argument and me using some frankly unladylike language. She thinks I'm a jerk for making a big deal out of nothing, and I think that she's one for displaying a drawing of my precious son. I'm going to effort to arrange a meeting at another location, but in the meantime, am I a jerk? Edit. The drawing is fairly abstract, but I instantly knew it was my son, or a model that looked just like him. He has a pretty distinctive longish hair, and the same build and look, and no, you can't really see the bits with that much detail, but still. My poor son, Aaron. Aaron! Why, Aaron? Why? Why would you do this now? Now everyone's going to be embarrassed of our family. We're going to be on the streets, all because you posed nude. I'll be the laughingstock of the ladies group where we all are volunteering, even though no one can tell it's you in the drawing. Alright, I mean, I'm poking fun at OP here, and maybe this is a legitimate concern on their part, and I mean, I hate to over-dramatize it. I dramatized it for the comedy. I'm sorry. But here's the thing. OP, you know, you are making a big deal out of this. You know it's your son. You can't see anything. And the thing is that if it bothers you this much, just don't look at it. You can't go and tell people how to reorganize their art in their house. What you could do, though, is bring out like a tiny mini fig leaf next time you come over to her house and ask her if she would be willing to install it over the charcoal drawing. That might be a great compromise in this situation. I'm joking, of course. Just leave her art alone and let her display it. She's proud of her work. You said it was a well done drawing, and it probably deserves a nice place to be displayed. Your son makes his own decisions, and the thing is that he shouldn't be shamed for doing something that he likes and has and enjoys. I think that this is a perfectly legitimate use of his time, and there shouldn't be any shame in doing this. So anyhow, take care and good luck. You're the jerk. No one knows it's your son. No one cares it's your son. Stop demanding that someone changes the decorations of their own house. Step away. This is none of your business. Yeah, I do want to talk about this update for Am I the Jerk for telling my teacher to stop making comments on my wheelchair. So I did cover this one. Hopefully I'll remember to put up like a thing up in the corner here. I forget very often, but because I'm very bad at remembering these things. Hi there, it's only been a week since my original post was up, but I have already updated. I'm sorry I couldn't respond to each comment, but there was a lot of them and I got a bit overwhelmed. I decided to do what a lot of people said I should do, and I reported the teacher, who made the comment, to my principal. But over the past week, I've kept note of other comments she made to me and other students. The teacher is on temporary suspension while she's being investigated, but since she holds a PhD, it's unlikely she'll be fired. The principal was absolutely appalled, and seems like it wasn't the first time he heard about something like this. I'm just assuming he didn't know the full story. Anyway, that's my update. Not as absolutely mental as some of those on here, but it's still pretty positive. Well, I'm glad that the teacher has actually been suspended. I think that that's a really good resolution here. Yeah, it's difficult. If she's tenured, that's probably more important than her degree, because tenured people are basically impossible to fire. But hopefully in this particular, and it probably is different if it's a, public school or something like that, because then there's probably a lot more leniency they have for actually getting rid of people, even ones with PhDs. So, and I would say that this was hopefully fireable offense, because, ridiculing a student over their wheelchair is just completely inappropriate. So, yeah. But I'm glad to hear that the teacher's at least suspended for now. So, yeah. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. If you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.